Sonic the Continuation, Issue 12. After Amy lampshades that White Elm looks nothing like Cosmo, fortunately common sense kicks in and Cosmo explains that they aren't literally brother and sister. He's just someone who's always been looking out for her. And she's surprised that Sally hasn't heard of the Metrics, even though they clearly just landed on that planet. Civilization is intact, of course they haven't heard of them yet. Topaz says this is a level A alert to Gun HQ, and the robot tries to get back up. Okay, so why should I care about the fight scene? Let me guess. All of the heroes will survive. Maybe it'll have the guts to get one of them injured. The way these robots look, I just don't see why I should be interested. The Metrics always looked like they were from a completely different franchise. And if it's just a fight between the two robots, I really have no reason not to just skim this. Amy asks who the Metrics are, and Cosmo says that they go from world to world enslaving the populations and taking them away to work on their pirate ships. That's what those one-dimensionally evil bad guys did when they came to her world 5 years ago. And she was young when White Elm saved her, and the Metrics considered him to be a traitor. At least their motive makes a lot more sense than Sonic X. Wanting free labor and thinking it's okay because they're enslaving aliens is much more believable for villains than them just destroying and conquering planets, and not realizing that destroying means they can't rule over places. Instead, the Metrics are enslaving people of different countries, and thinking it's fine because of that. And we know it's realistic because the British Empire did it. She says that she's been on the run from the Metrics bounty hunters ever since. That means she never got an education. And she keeps attracting Metrics to any poor, hapless planet she goes to. How many planets have been destroyed by the Metrics? Chuck's still amazed at the technology, even though it's still a dangerous situation involving robots fighting each other where Amy might get hurt. But Tails can be distracted by impressive technology too, like in the Sonic Boom comic. At least this is a character moment, and it's an even stronger character moment because he's kind of an older man, and even he's really impressed by it. Cosmo says that she never thought Aspen would actually catch up with her, so this has never happened before then. But if she doesn't keep attracting Metrics to any planet she goes to, then why is she always on the run? Why didn't she just stay in one particular planet if no Metrics ever caught up with her and chased her away from it? I don't get it. So I guess Metrics other than Aspen kept catching up with her. I feel like these two are invincible. Why should I care about their fighting? They don't seem to be getting progressively more damaged. It doesn't look interesting. Finally, Diablon shows up. So as it turns out, Topaz was useful after all. Too bad she's not allowed to be too useful because her order to ignore the white robot is completely ignored. And I know it's because she's just a soldier and not in charge of Diablon, but come on! So the gun commander is a callous asshole who just wants both of the robots destroyed and completely ignores the valuable intel he just got, and he just wants Cosmo taken into custody. He could just politely ask Cosmo to come with him, because they want to find out about her, which isn't by itself evil. Cosmo's upset at her big brother getting hurt, and Topaz reluctantly points a gun at her, following her orders. While Rouge isn't so happy. I mean, she doesn't want to get fired, so I understand. Who'd want to be court-martialed? That'd be a boring trial. The gun commander says to send in the cleanup crew because he wants the aliens contained and brought back to HQ immediately. It's odd that he still calls them aliens when they just look like robots to him, even if they're alien robots. But still, isn't it obvious to him that he should listen to Cosmo? Just in case? That's basic international diplomacy, to not attack the good guy. Like he's lucky it's not an ambassador. Then to make Gun even more unbearable, Amy and Sally are put under arrest by Gun. Maybe just because Amy wanted to oppose them. But she didn't even get to finish her first sentence. This is just an inherently unlikable idea. I mean, they're gonna break out anyways. Did Grimer frame them with robots? At least Sonic being arrested made sense because Shadow framed him and people only knew about one hedgehog with his powers. And for all they knew, Sonic was dyeing his hair black and red as a disguise to get away with things. They should have said that in the game, though. So Gun wants Grimer to start taking apart the captured Metrics immediately to know what makes them tick, which makes sense. And Sally and Amy are going to be put into cells because the freedom fighters were never trusted in the first place, being called vigilantes, even though they took down Robotnik. Well, this put me in a bad mood. This might be a bad issue. I don't care about the Matrix fight, and I don't know what the writer was thinking putting us through this. I was enjoying this comic because it didn't get me mad like this. When Topaz is told to take Cosmo to a lab to be examined, it makes sense that Rouge snaps and smacks the gun commander, because not only is she an ex-pirate anyway, so she's not used to following all the rules, but they just said they wanted to take apart the Matrix, when Cosmo clearly would be traumatized by that. That could mean Cosmo would be taken apart too, though I don't know what the artist was thinking in not showing Rouge's hand actually impact his face. It completely ruins any satisfaction that it could have had. It's good that it happened, I guess. I love that she calls him a maniac. But still, I didn't think the gun commander could be any more worse after Shadow the Hedgehog. She says that he never cared about jurisdiction, and that's why Diabolon turned up as soon as Topaz called for help. She says that they were sent there specifically as bait to lure the aliens out. The gun commander has a good point here. He says she's right, but he did it because his duty is to safeguard the future of the entire human race from all threats, and admits that the humans' position on Mobius is precarious. And wow, she's not already fired for attacking him? He actually tells her to do her job and take Cosmo to the lab. I guess he's planning to get her punished afterwards anyways, and is just hoping she'll do what he says for now. I can't blame him. It really should be explained that he's watched too many sci-fi movies, so of course he's paranoid against aliens. And it makes sense the gun would be so paranoid because the Colonel in SCC was just as paranoid about Amy and Techno because they're aliens. And he and his military detained them because they might be threats. So it being applied to a different human isn't entirely out of character. I mean, the gun commander hated the Black Arms and Shadow the Hedgehog just as much. Sally relatably hates being made a prisoner on her first mission. She's done nothing so far. Amy puts her hand on her shoulder and reassures her that she's been through worse than this. We see Cosmo in a tube, much like Cream was put in at the start of Sonic X. Grommer says that it's fascinating that while she's a vertebrae, her biology is more like a plant. She asks what it'll do to her, and he says that as a prime alien specimen, she'll be preserved. But his new employers love new technology, so the two robots will be used to create a new generation of military robots. Because apparently Colonel Granite's robots weren't good enough, even though they do the same thing. And Grommer loves the idea of getting rich as head engineer of Gun. What's he plan on spending the money on? I mean, what hobby does he have? Like, what would he want to collect? At least it's polite of him to thank her for visiting the planet and say that he hopes she enjoys her time with them. Even if he's probably just saying this to make fun of her because he knows she's upset. I can't blame Gun for wanting new technology. They're a military. Too bad they won't just get to know the good aliens first before mistreating them. Which is about as dumb as how the Zord ambassador got dissected immediately. So it's happened often enough in the franchise to make sense. So this issue by Akira frustrated me by having Sally and Amy get arrested by Gun for disagreeing with their capturing of Cosmo's bodyguard robot along with the evil robot, both of which they immediately defeated with Diabolon. So fast that I really wish it happened immediately, because I was bored to death by the non-Sonic-like robots fighting each other and talking. At least the Metrics finally have a motive that is believable. They're pirates on a planetary scale, so that makes their appearance all worth it. It's just frustrating that Gun is mistreating the good guys without an ounce of regret. I really hated that. But it does make sense that they wouldn't see Amy and Sally as useful because they have no special powers to help them. It makes perfect sense that the gun commander's motive is to protect humanity, so we can see how even a noble goal can go too far. At least Cosmo's gonna be preserved instead of dissected. I mean, why would they dissect her when Grimer can just scan her to learn how she works that way? Wait, why can't they learn how the robots work without taking them apart then? They just don't care because they're naturally afraid of robots. Thanks, Eggman. This may be nothing like an SE2 adaptation, but anything's better than being so samey that the story would be pointless. It's the heroes being arrested, and that's frustrating enough to ruin my enjoyment of the issue. It happened to Sonic in SE2, so now it's happening to someone else. But I didn't like it there either.